Lagos never slept. The hum of traffic, the flashing billboards, the restless city all formed the heartbeat of Nigeria's commercial capital. In the middle of this vibrant chaos lived Edena at 27, tall and graceful, her smooth chocolate brown skin glowing in the city's neon lights. She worked as a banker on Victoria Island, known for her sharp mind, impeccable style, and calm elegance. On most evenings, she walked into her luxury Lekki apartment in fitted gowns or jeans and designer heels, her gold necklace catching the reflection of the city lights. Her life seemed perfect. She was married to Obinna, her university acquaintance turned lover. He was in his early 30s, dark-skinned, broad-shouldered, with a neatly trimmed beard and the confident air of a self-made man. His logistics company had grown into one of Lagos' rising businesses, and his sharp suits made him look every inch the powerful entrepreneur. Their wedding had been the talk of the town: white Rolls Royces, Osoebi in shimmering silver and teal, endless music, and Instagram hashtags like Obinoidi forever. To friends and strangers alike, they were the definition of a modern power couple. But not everyone celebrated their happiness. Far across the city, in her own upscale apartment, Kayamika scrolled angrily through her phone. Her caramel-toned skin glowed under the ring light as she sat on her bed, her long straight weave falling across her shoulders. She wore a trendy green jumpsuit, gold hoop earrings glinting, but her beauty was poisoned by bitterness. There on her screen was Edena, her old secondary school best friend, smiling with Obinna. The man she, Kayamika, had once claimed in her heart since their teenage days. Back in high school, both girls had admired him. But Kayamika had been bold about it, scribbling his name in notebooks, giggling whenever he passed in his prefect's uniform, telling anyone who cared to listen that one day she would be his wife. Edena, shy and soft-spoken, had buried her crush deep. Now, years later, it was Edena who had him. And Kayamika, who had once stood as maid of honor, forced fake smiles at the wedding, felt robbed. To her, it didn't matter that Edena had never known about her obsession. She convinced herself her friend had stolen her destiny. And she vowed to take revenge. That night, Kayamika drove through Ajiganal, where the glossy skyscrapers of Lagos gave way to narrow, dusty streets. She stopped in front of a small bungalow, its zinc roof rusted, its walls stained with age. Her aunt, Mom Nkechi, opened the door, holding a kerosene lantern. Wrinkled, thin, her head wrapped in a faded scarf, the old woman's eyes glowed with knowledge of things the city had forgotten. "Auntie, I cannot sleep," Kayamika whispered, kneeling on the tiled floor inside. "Edena stole him. She stole my Obinna. I want her to suffer. I want her happiness destroyed." Mom Nkechi studied her for a long moment. You mean your friend? You want her husband, or just her peace?" "If I cannot have him, she must not enjoy him," Kayamika spat, her slim hands trembling. The old woman nodded slowly. She brought out dried snake bones, palm oil, and blood from a black fowl. Grinding them into a paste, she whispered chants older than the city itself. She sealed the mixture in a clay pot with red cloth. "Give this to her," Mom Nkechi said, her voice low. "When she swallows it, what grows in her womb will not be human." Kayamika took it with trembling hands, but her heart burned with determination. Weeks later, Adana invited her best friend to dinner at her Lekki apartment. The living room smelled of jollof rice and grilled fish, the city skyline glowing beyond the glass windows. "Chi, I have news," Adana, wearing black gown dress with long curly weave, said, her eyes lighting up as she touched her stomach. "I think I'm pregnant." Kayamika forced a smile. "That's wonderful, my dear. Obinna will be thrilled." When Adana wasn't looking, she poured a little of the charm into her friend's glass filled with apple juice. They clinked glasses and drank, Adana unsuspecting. That night, something unseen slithered into her womb. At first, everything seemed normal. Adana and Obinna decorated a nursery, bought tiny clothes, and celebrated. Her mother called every day to pray for her. But soon, the changes began. She woke at night to faint hissing in the room. When she touched her belly, the movements inside were not like kicks but riding coils. Her cravings grew strange: raw eggs, smoked fish, once even live frogs. Her reflection in the mirror began to look sharper, her eyes faintly glowing in the dim light. Obinna noticed but brushed it off as pregnancy hormones. Until the hospital visit. The doctor frowned at the monitor. "This is strange." Adana's voice shook. "What do you see?" The doctor adjusted the screen. Obinna leaned closer. What they saw froze their blood. Not a baby. A coiled shadow. Its shape unmistakably serpentine. Adana screamed. Obinna staggered back, his broad shoulders trembling. The doctor dropped his pen. That night, neither of them slept. Months later, in a Lagos hospital delivery room, chaos erupted. Adana screamed in agony, sweat drenching her braids, as doctors and nurses panicked. Obinna held her hand, his suit jacket abandoned, his beard damp with sweat. But when the moment came, no cry of a baby filled the room. Instead, a black snake slithered out onto the white sheets, its scales glistening, its red eyes glowing faintly. Nurses shrieked, equipment clattered to the floor. The serpent hissed and coiled around the bed legs. Adana fainted in Obinna's arms. The hospital never forgot that night. Far away, in her luxury apartment, Kayamika stared at her mirror. But instead of her reflection, she saw snakes slithering across her body. She screamed, dropping her iPhone. Her once beautiful face twisted. She fell to the tiled floor, writhing in pain as ghostly shadows of serpents crawled along her walls. Rushing to her aunt, she begged for help. But Mama Nkechi shook her head. "The evil you planted has returned to you." From that night, Kayamika's life crumbled. Her beauty faded, her wealth scattered, her mind cracked. She wandered Lagos streets barefoot, muttering to herself, people staring with pity and fear. Adana survived, though her body carried scars of the strange birth. She and Obinna moved forward cautiously, learning the hard way that envy can poison even the closest friendships. One morning, as she sat on her balcony sipping tea, Obinna's arm around her, she watched the Lagos skyline glowing with new light. She knew she would never forget. Somewhere else, Kayamika staggered through the streets, hair disheveled, clothes torn, talking to voices only she could hear. And in a storm drain, a snake slithered into the shadows, unseen but not gone. Envy is a fire that consumes the one who lights it. Witchcraft born from jealousy never destroys, only the target it returns to swallow its master.